What's up? I want to talk to you about running from God. Running not just from God, but running from responsibilities. Running from things you don't want to deal with, you don't want to hear, you don't want to see. You just wish you never seen it, never heard it. You just wish it wasn't there. So you run from it. Even though you may not physically run, mentally, you don't ever go back there. You block it out, wall it up, right? See, as people, we compartmentalize things for convenience, right? It's not convenient to think about things we don't want to think about. We run from those things, right? So think about Jonah, right? You know, God approaches Jonah and says, hey, I need you to reach out to the city of Nineveh and prevent the Ninevites from upcoming wrath. I need you to save the citizens of Nineveh. You're the man. Jonah didn't want to do it. So he boarded the ship. He got on a boat. And it says in the Bible that Jonah paid the ship. He boarded the ship and paid the fare. He boarded the ship for Tarsus to flee from the mission to Nineveh. Who cares about the Ninevites? I don't know these people. You know what I'm saying? You tell them, man. You know what I'm saying? You're God. You tell them. You know what I mean? What are you having me tell them for? That's Jonah's mentality. So on the ship he goes. He boarded the ship and he paid the fare. See, when we run from God, it's a costly journey. There's a fee. It comes with a heavy price. You know what I mean? And boom, he gets swallowed up. There's a great storm, and boom, he gets swallowed up by this whale, and he's in this whale's belly for a few days or whatever, 3 days. It's said 3 days, and then boom, he spit up on the shore. You know what I mean? So, you know, Jonah goes on to carry out God's mission, and the Ninevites were spared from wrath because of Jonah. You know, God used Jonah to save the Ninevites. You know what I mean? Finally, in the end, God's calling was answered, right? You know what I mean? So how many of you have ran from God? How many of you have boarded a ship and paid the fare? Or are still paying the fare? You know what I mean? You think Uncle Sam's bad, man, you will pay the piper, right? Paid the fare. It's a costly journey to run from God. I've ran from God. I've had several intense callings put in my life. Intense. I was called to preach the word, be a messenger of the kingdom. And I took the call. I went to Bible college. I did it all, man. But I bounced. You know, I'm not glorifying that. You know what I'm saying? I ran from God. I boarded the ship and paid the fare a couple of times. And then get swallowed up in my metaphorical whale's belly. You know what I'm saying? And spit back out. Deal with it then. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And the right thing is in our lives, and we're forced with a decision. Do we run or do we board the ship? If you board the ship, you're going to pay a fare. You know, Jonah was still a self-righteous kind of dude, even after that, you know, because he's sitting under a tree and it's hot, you know what I mean? And God gave him a little bit of shade, right? There's shade under the tree, you know what I'm saying? And Jonah couldn't even be thankful for that, you know what I'm saying? So you know what? No one knows what happened in the book of Jonah because it just abruptly cuts off, right? But you know, God used Jonah to save the Ninevites from upcoming wrath, but he couldn't use Jonah to save Jonah. Jonah was still, we don't know what happened with Jonah. But how many of you have boarded the ship and paid a fare to run from something, run from God, run from whoever, whatever, an abusive boyfriend or a naggy old lady, or, you know what I'm saying, rob some people in your inferior life. How many of you who all has ran from something? You boarded the ship and you paid the fare. It's a costly journey when you run from shit. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just gotta face it, man. You know what I mean? What do you want more? You know what I mean? You want the situation to just be dealt with and over with, or do you want the tape to keep playing over and over? You want to keep running back into it. You can run back full circle back into it. You know what I mean? You ain't got to board the ship. You ain't got to pay no fare like that, you know. You know what I'm saying? And that was a pretty powerful little story I got from the book of Jonah. I read that, you know what I'm saying? And I thought about that, and I felt that. Because I've done that, you know what I'm saying? I've done that, you know. That whale's belly is accountability. You know what I'm saying? Accountability will come. It'll get you. You know what I'm saying? His backpack and piggyback riding with karma. You know what I'm saying? You paid the fare, man. You boarded the ship. You paid the fare. You know what I'm saying? Jonah did. Look what happened. I mean, how many of us have paid the ship, paid the fucking fare? You know what I'm saying? Boarded the ship, ran from God, ran from whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. To me, part of being a man isn't about running. It's about facing what's in front of you, right? Getting ahead of it. Get ahead of the curve. You know? I don't know. Y'all ain't got to board the ship. Y'all ain't got to pay the fare, man. Just, I don't know. That's a pretty powerful little thing I got from Jonah, man. It's fair I share that. Thank you.